Hi everybody, this is going to be a quick tutorial on how to write effective body paragraphs. As you work on drafts and final essay submissions, the body of your paper has got to have effective body paragraphs. And note that body paragraphs are a little bit different than introductions, and so the paragraph that you see highlighted above is going to show you body paragraphs in more specific detail, and I'm borrowing a paragraph from the writer Sam Sachs. This is the article Bring Back the Illustrated Book, which I have used as a sample in class. You should see an announcement related to this. Remember, body paragraphs for essays look like this. Introductions, they warm up readers, provide a thesis statement, which is your argument, and then, of course, you have body paragraphs, which is what the example is going to be above. Support your thesis with evidence and purposely built paragraphs. Now, your conclusion will restate the thesis in a fresh way, and then provide any suggestions or overarching ideas for readers. So introductions and conclusions are different types of paragraphs. Your body paragraphs are about 80 to 90% of the entire essay, right? You have a thesis statement, you make an argument about a text. Well, the argument that Sam Sachs is making in this article, and you can see the link in a previous announcement, is that novels benefited from having illustrations, and he makes lots of different arguments about that. So he has an introduction that warms readers up excuse me, to that concept. And this is the second paragraph of his paper. Okay, so this is a purposely designed paragraph that I'd love to see in your final work on your critical analysis essays. Okay, so what you see here is a structure. And that purposeful structure looks like this. Topic sentence, right? He's talking about the golden age of the illustrated novel. He's saying back in the day, art was went hand in hand with these texts. So that's what he says. He says some of the art from, he doesn't say some of the art from then, right? He's specific. Some of the art from the golden age of the illustrated novel. So we know exactly what he's talking about. Remains vital companion to text. It works hand in hand, okay? And then he provides evidence. And in this case, since this was an article from the New Yorker, you'll see some hyperlinks. And if you go to the article itself, what's neat is that those images were embedded. So he really wants to show his authors what it looks like. But he writes about it too. He says, evidence sentence 1. It's nearly impossible to go down Lewis Carroll's rabbit hole without envisioning John Tenniel's drawings of a ranting bug-toothed Mad Hatter or of Alice eerily elongated after eating the currant cake. Evidence sentence 2. George Cruikshank was such a brilliant artist that his emotive illustrations for Oliver Twist retain a tenacious hold on the imagination. Evidence sentence 3. But we almost never find them in contemporary novels. On the rare occasions they do appear, it's as ironic anachronism in Susanna Clarke's Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, for instance, or Umberto Eco's The Prague Cemetery, both of which are pastiches of 19th century genre fiction. That was the third bit of evidence. His first bit was, if you look at Lewis Carroll's work, there was art throughout. The second one, if you read Oliver Twist, great art too. They do appear, art does appear in modern works, in Clarke's work and in Eco's work. In sentence 3, he says, but because these texts are about that period of time, that's why it appears there. They're really honoring the previous period by having those images. Okay. What a lot of students fail to include in body paragraphs, and what I want to see you include in your body paragraph in each one is this idea of unpacking, this idea of the rationale. If you look to previous assignments and you look at the rubrics, it's like key points and a rationale. The rationale explains why. Now, if you watch any political debates, you'll notice that the people who are debating can have the same statistic. They can have the same quote. They're not going to argue it in the same way. They're not going to interpret it in the same way. So the unpacking is probably the most important way I, as your instructor, can determine how well you understand the text. So Here's the example of what Sachs does. He says, even as graphic novels enjoy a surge of newfound critical appreciation, the common consensus seems to be that pictures no longer belong in literary fiction. It's reasonable to ask, why not? What do we know that Dickens and Twain didn't? Okay, so he's saying, in the golden age it happened, and it happens a little bit in the present, but it's not happening anymore. And he poses this rhetorical question, well, why not? What do we know that Dickens and Twain didn't? He has the answer for you. Rhetorical questions often have those answers, and it comes in the following paragraph. So that's how he connects his paragraphs together. So if you think of this structure, what I really want to see in these drafts, and as you continue to draft, if you work with me or you work with the Writing Center, is to have the structure: topic sentence, evidence, and then unpacking or explanation. Unpacking just means explaining the significance of the evidence. And you will notice in here, by the way, there's a couple of other little hints that I can share with you. You'll notice that Sam Sachs doesn't say anywhere, I believe, I feel, I think, I know. He doesn't need to. That's superfluous. It's extra. It's unnecessary. Don't make yourselves the subject of these body paragraphs. We know he believes this because he's stating it in his argument, right? Not everybody will agree with Sachs, but he's using specific evidence to make this argument. And all of the types of paragraphs like this appear in your critical analysis essay in the body. Okay? So you make a particular point about the article that you're reviewing, provide evidence from it, explain why that evidence is significant. This right here, your body paragraphs are going to be worth the most. The evidence, sufficient and relevant evidence, is a key to a really good critical analysis essay. So your body paragraphs have got to hone in on specific details. They have to be encapsulated with a clear topic sentence that uses nouns and unpacking. This is the way to get an A. And one final note on this sort of body paragraph structure. Make sure you don't start or end a paragraph on a quote. You always want to introduce quotes with your own writing. That's why topic sentences guide readers. And you want to end on the unpacking. You cannot, if you drop your unpacking, your paragraphs are not going to be that successful. But if you have your evidence in a draft, it's good to go back and say, okay, so what this means is, and just walk readers through the meaning of that piece of evidence, of that use of sarcasm, or that particular example that the author used. You can continue to build these. We can continue to work together. Do your best to make the body paragraphs the heart of this paper, and reach out if you have questions, okay?